So I was originally going to do a video about Genesis, not specifically meaning this broken down old abandoned diner, but about Genesis, like the beginning of things, the origin of things, because that relates a lot to what much of my adult life has been, which has been searching for who I am and what I am and who I came from and where I came from and all that kind of stuff, because, you know, I come from foster care and adoption, and I'm part of the adoption community, and so, you know, I come out here and I rehearse a lot, and I do a lot of work here. I'm kind of attracted to these broken down old abandoned places. But it's 80 degrees, it's crazy mad sunny right now. I'm actually using S-Log2, which I never do, but I'm just hoping to maybe, you know, keep some of the highlights in this shot. But I don't know, it's not really that important because I have some other things on my mind today that I want to talk about, and I haven't done a video in a little bit over a week, which I made a commitment to myself to get something done at least every week while I'm trying to build this channel. And so I've gone through a couple of things over the last couple of weeks, and I've had a lot on my mind and things that I think I'd like to share. And so I think what I want to do, instead of doing it here, which is too bright, I'm standing here in front of this tree, it's not really interesting, it's not a great shot, it's not great for you, it's not great for me, so let's go find a better place, and then I will start this over and talk about the things that are on my mind today, and let's move from there. All right, so I'm in New Paltz, New York right now. I drove up here from Poughkeepsie. I've endured an incredibly long winter, a cold winter. It's 80 degrees today. It's really nice. I'm not really dressed for it, but I wasn't really prepared for it because who knew? And so anyway, let's go find another place and I'll start over again. Okay, I think this is a little bit better, even though it's still crazy sunny, so excuse this if it goes up and down in terms of light. I don't have it on auto ISO. I'm just leaving the ISO where it is. So, and also I'm shooting with no picture profile. I just want to see what it looked like. I'm kind of testing this lens. It's a Sony Zeiss Batis 25mm. It's a full frame lens. I'm using it on the Sony a6400 which is a crop sensor camera. And so, I don't know. I feel like it works great for close-up shots, but for some reason for landscape, kind of long, far away kind of shots, I've been having problems with it. So, but that's not what I'm talking about today. There's a lot going on. You know, there's been a lot going on in my life. There's a lot going on in the lives of people around me. And obviously there's a lot going on in the world. You know, in Ukraine, New York City. I mean, in New York City, we just had the worst mass shooting in the history of the city, in the subway system. You know, I mean, obviously it wasn't 9/11, but it was horrific, you know. And I also saw a post by somebody that I know who said, how crazy is it that we just had this horrific terrorist event and now everybody's just going to work and going about their day as if nothing happened. It's so true. We're so jaded. We're so used to stuff happening, especially now. Like, you know, things have changed so dramatically in this country. You know, we are so used to being probably the most dangerous country in the world right now. I mean, people are getting shot every day. People are getting stabbed every day. New York City, it's like 1978, you know, or early 80s. It's crazy. You know, it's really dangerous to get on the trains. It's dangerous just to walk in the streets. And, you know, I know a lot of people go, that's bullshit, you know, it's crazy. It's true. There's a lot of stuff going on. And obviously Ukraine, what's going on there is absolutely, it's bizarre, you know what I mean? It's like the propaganda and the way that it affects people, the fact that the Russian people don't even know what's going on. And nobody, who knows what's going on, but we do know that people are dying and that it's a terrible situation. And, you know, we do know that war is never a good thing. And also on a much more personal note, you know, I know a lot of people going through a lot of stuff right now, and I've actually been going through a lot of things too. You know, I just moved in October. It's been hard for me to adjust. You know, I went through a really very difficult winter actually. I kind of underestimated how heavy the winter is up in Dutchess County, which, you know, I'm about 80 miles north of New York City now. But it's 80 degrees today, and I really look forward to this spring and this summer up here. I think it's going to be incredibly beautiful. But I digress. There's a lot of stuff going on with a lot of people, and you know, I've been thinking quite a bit about how it's really more than ever about the little things in life. And you know, I don't want to come on here and seem like I'm, you know, coming on with some kind of an answer to all the ills of the world, but I'm just trying to contribute something that has been on my mind, which is the small things, you know, finding some joy in every day, finding some good, doing the things that you love to do, because life is so fleeting. I mean, I lost a couple of people close to me over the past year, and I've lost a lot of people over this last decade, you know, and I'm just talking about me personally, and I know everybody has lost a lot of people, but I can only speak from my own experience that I have lost some people really dear to me. And it's not been easy, you know. And also, you know, I lost a lot during the pandemic in terms of my work. Everything got turned upside down. You know, I had a lot of performances that got canceled, and actually the direction of my professional life, I feel like it kind of got changed. I mean, I recently turned down an opportunity to perform the play that was canceled because of the pandemic. So 2 years later, this play that is still a brand new play, but to me it's an old play already, I said no, because I'm not really prepared to open that play, because during the pandemic I had to kind of switch my whole thing, you know, like I had to change what I was doing. I had to find some meaning in my life, and I'll get back to that word meaning. But I had to switch things, and I wound up getting into filmmaking and diving into this new world that I had never engaged in before, and I just became obsessed with it, and I'm very grateful. You know, and I made this feature-length film on my phone, and now I'm sitting here talking to you on a camera about lenses, and I'm speaking about things that I could never have imagined talking about just 2 years ago, you know? And so that's something that I'm really grateful for. But at the same time, I have to lament a lot of loss. You know, the play that I was about to open was probably the best professional movement of my career up until that point. It was going to be the best movement, the most meaningful movement, the most tangible movement. I know it. You know, I had great collaborators. It was the best work that I had ever written. I was more prepared in performance than I had ever been prepared for anything in my whole life. I mean, I was so primed for that thing. And when it got canceled, I was absolutely devastated. You know, like I could say I was kind of broken for a while. You know, I didn't really care about much after that. I was like, you know, the whole world was shut down. It was bizarre. It was crazy. People were, you know, separating from one another because of politics and, you know, everything that was going on in the government and all this craziness. And then January 6th came, and, you know, people are becoming more and more separated, and you know, even people that, and you know, you've probably experienced this too, but I've experienced, even people that I thought I knew really well have been shockingly changed by the events of the last couple of years. And I don't know, maybe maybe we all have, you know, maybe I have too. But I know one thing that I've always felt, because I've been through a lot of adversity, you know, and I'm not saying I've been through more than anybody else or less than, you know, whatever, it's not a competition, but I've been through a lot, and a lot of people have been through a lot. But I have been through a lot, and I know that the thing that has always gotten me through was to focus on small things, you know, to focus on the little things. You know, a friend of mine once said to me that when things get most difficult in your life, just remember that probably when you wake up tomorrow, you're going to feel differently, and things are going to be a little bit different. You know, things are probably going to change. Just in less than 24 hours, just go to sleep and wake up, and you're going to feel different. So when you feel at your lowest, just remember, this is just temporary. And what really helps me to get through those times is to focus on the small things, the things that can bring you joy that are so tiny. You know what I mean? Like to stop and say hello to somebody's puppy. Like I lost my dog a few years ago. It's been quite a few years now, and I'm still broken about it. But when I stop and I engage with somebody who's walking a puppy or walking an elder dog or something like that, it really makes me happy. You know, it kind of fills me up. When I stop and have a conversation with a stranger, you know, when I, you know, just eat a meal that I really enjoy, you know, when I sit down and I listen to John Coltrane's Love Supreme, and I just sit there and do just that. Just close my eyes and listen to the music. Keith Jarrett, the Cologne concert. You know, and I sit there and I just allow myself to be gone. You know, when I watch a movie like Cinema Paradiso or Roma, or, you know, one of my favorite films, or I see a new, you know, like a series on HBO, something like, you know, Mayor of Easttown, or, you know, anything that brings me joy, I try to really not take that for granted. You know, I try to not take anything for granted, because I know that it's the small things. You know, where I moved is a really beautiful place, and I try to go down to the Hudson River every single day. I mean, I'm literally a 5-minute walk from the river. I mean, I'm right there. The train station's, you know, just a few blocks from where I live. The walkway over the Hudson, the famous Hudson rail line, is 2 blocks from where I live. I will never take that for granted. I try to go to the river every day. I try to run on the rail trail every day. You know, and I try to not let it get past me how beautiful it is. Like, look at this. This is the mountains in New Paltz, you know. Lake Minnewaska is up and around that mountain. You know, the Mohonk Preserve is around here. It's a beautiful place. It's unbelievably beautiful. It's like, you know, you don't have to go to Colorado or Montana or Iceland or something like that to find beauty. There's beautiful everywhere. I don't care if you live in the Bronx. You know, there are so many beautiful places in the Bronx, and I know I lived in the Bronx. You know, I've lived in Manhattan, I've lived in Brooklyn. There are beautiful places throughout the city. There are beautiful places anywhere you go. You can always find them. Everybody has a favorite place, or a safe place, or a place that they go to, or whatever. I think more than ever you have to take advantage of those kind of places right now. It's the little things, you know, it's the relationships, it's your friendships, you know. I had the opportunity recently where, you know, my birthday passed, and on my birthday, a very dear friend of mine reached out to me who I have been disconnected from for 13 years. Like, the entire time I've been in theater since I left the music business, and I'm talking about a close friend. And I was very grateful for that, and recently we saw one another. And you know, it's funny, when I got to their house, it's a couple, first thing I saw was their dog. And so they had gotten a puppy just as we disconnected. I never met their puppy, but they got one just as we kind of went our separate ways. And first thing I saw is this old, beautiful dog come running out the door to me with his gray face, kind of limping a little bit, you know, but with, like, you know how dogs are, just pure ecstasy to see me, like, hey, you know, this is gonna be fun, a new person. And I looked at that dog's face and I was like, wow, that face is the exact amount of time that it's been since I've seen these people. Like, that's what the time looks like, this face. And it makes you realize how fleeting everything is. And, you know, my friend who I spoke to that day, you know, he's a writer, he's a great writer. His wife is actually the one who reached out to me, but he's a great writer. And he said to me that, you know, we were talking about storytelling. And he said, you know, the thing that he's learned the most about storytelling is that it's about compression. And that was one of the deepest things that I've ever heard somebody explain about storytelling, because, you know, I'm a good example of that, actually, because, you know, everybody says, oh man, your plays are so long. I mean, I'm a solo performing artist and my plays are 2.5 hours long. And so people think that's long when they hear it, but then when they get to the theater, it never feels long, you know? I mean, I feel pretty comfortable saying that I put it across in a way that is engaging enough where people don't get bored, because my first rule in the theater is to never disrespect the audience. You know, never have them bored. And if I do see them bored, I have not done my job, and it's like an epic fail. But so my friend said, you know, storytelling is about compression. Because when you think about it, you're taking this vast story that you could tell sometimes over years of time, and you're compressing it into 90 minutes or 80 minutes or 2 hours or whatever. And so, for example, you know, my play Broke Wide Open is from before I was even born to today, this exact moment. That's all those years being compressed into 2.5 hours. Brooklyn Quartet, it starts the day that Sean Bell was shot, 2006. It rewinds 20 years, and then it ends the same day. 20 years compressed into 2.5 hours. And so my point is, when I had this conversation with him, it was so deep to me and so kind of affirming of my work, like, oh, okay, that makes sense. you know? And I found so much joy in that moment. I found so much gratitude. I was really enjoying the conversation. I was like, you know, this is so valuable. This is worth so much. You know, even though I haven't seen these guys for so long, it's like I'm sitting here eating lunch with them. It's like we picked up where we left off. It's like no time had passed in some ways. And I'm really grateful for that. And I learned something from this brilliant man and this woman who has been through so much. And she's sitting there like pure love, like pure joy. So happy, and she seemed so centered and so good. Like she just seemed good with where she's been. And she's been through a lot. She perhaps might have not been here. She's been through that kind of life and death kind of stuff. But she is still here. And she is so still here. And so is her husband. And so am I, and so are you. And so what I'm saying is, it's the little things. Don't take anything for granted. You know, do your work, do the things that you love, be with the people that you love, only be around people that make you feel good. And if you happen to be around people who don't make you feel good, find something meaningful in that. Find something magical in it, something that can bring you some growth. You know, find something, because there's always beautiful lying amidst the moment. The present moment, there is always something beautiful there, you know, always. And I'm not gonna use examples of tragic things and tell you something beautiful, because that would be stupid and obvious. But I bet you could do that. I bet you could take the most tragic event of your life. You know, when my father died, this is the only example that I'll use. When my father died and when my mother died, it was the best time of my relationship with both of them. You know, it was 15 years apart, but I got to take care of both of them when they were sick, and it was absolutely the best time of our relationship in each case. You know, the communication that we had was elevated, the empathy was elevated. It was like all the bullshit was gone. Only the beautiful existed, because we knew that the time was limited and it was not going to last a long time. And so I remember after my father died, I thought to myself, wow, you know, death doesn't seem so horrible to me anymore, because this was so beautiful, as gut-wrenching as it was, and as horrible as it was, and as just sad and depressing. It was also so magnificent and so healing for me and for my father. It was so good. And so I'm going to end it in this video with something that I saw this morning. I watched a video by somebody I don't even know. And sorry about the light, here it comes. But anyway, I saw this video by a YouTuber that I don't even know. And he told a story about a fellow YouTuber friend of his who he travels with a lot, I guess, and some kind of horrible accident where this guy slipped as they were climbing a mountain, and he fell down the side of the mountain, and this guy actually heard his friend screaming on the way down for like 15 minutes trying to get up, screaming for help, and he died. The guy had to live with that. And so a bunch of his friends threw him a surprise party recently. And he's gotten through that time, but obviously it's been something very difficult for him. And then, shortly after this party that they had, another one of their friends who they collaborate with took a private plane to some, you know, remote place to do a crazy YouTube video, and the plane went down, and everybody in the plane was killed. And so this group of friends lost 2 people in a short amount of time. And so they're trying to find some meaning in their lives after that kind of tragedy, after that kind of loss, you know, like, because the thing about life is that it's relentless. It never ends. You know, life itself is the most resilient thing about our existence. It never stops. It never slows down. It just continues. You know, no matter what happens, life just keeps going. You know, you can't stop it. You just have to keep up. That's all you could do. And so something the guy said on the video really stayed with me, and it comes down to, you have to have something in your life that you do that you love. You know, I don't care if it's professionally or a hobby or whatever, there has to be something in your life that makes you want to wake up every morning. And whether that's raising your kids or fixing your house or just going to work every day at the post office or whatever it is, it doesn't matter, you know? You have to have something that you love. In my case, it's been being an artist, you know, creating work, sharing work all these years. I've been doing it for such a long time. It just fills me up and makes me feel human. It makes me feel like myself, you know, like nothing else makes me feel like me. And so this guy said, he included a quote, and I'm going to try to not fuck this up, and excuse my French. But he said, life is fleeting and life is short. So make sure that you do exactly what you want to do. Like, do what you love. And don't worry about what other people think, especially the people who love you, because ironically, the people who love you are the ones who might try to push you away from the things that you love for either their own personal reasons, or maybe they're worried about you if you're making some kind of big change in your life, or whatever the case may be. But whether it's people you know or people you don't know, don't worry about what other people think, because the people who don't matter, they seem to mind. But the people who matter, they don't mind. Just do what you love. Anyway, thanks for watching. Next time I'll talk about Genesis. And I think I'm going to go up to Lake Minnewaska. Maybe I will, but you know what? I'm going to keep it to myself today because I just want to have kind of a Love Supreme, John Coltrane kind of day where I sit and enjoy this on my own. So have a beautiful day wherever you are. Take care of yourselves, take care of one another. Find some joy today. Peace.